Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. Yes, I've started on all this Halloween stuff, so I've got a variety of some unusual and some traditional kind of stamp sets and die sets that I'm going to incorporate together to make this scene that I've got going on. So there's various things, as you'll see here, different dies from different sets, different stamps from different sets, and hopefully I'll remember how to explain which one comes from which when we get there. I also wanted to use one of the Happy Hauntings Cricut images. It's a cartridge that I've wanted for a very long time, and I just never got it. So I have it now, and I'm going to use the boot from that, which is so cool. Anyway, so I think to start with I'm going to use, I believe this is Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I used the largest of the stitched rectangles from Fawn to cut a rectangle, and I'm using my trusty moon circle die. That's all it is, that I've had for many years. I think if you go back to my 2016-ish, maybe even 16 or 17 Halloween series, you'll see that's the first time I used it for a Halloween card, funny enough. So to start with, I've placed the moon so that I can mask off that area for the sky, and then for the bottom part, for the grass, I'm using my homemade stencils that I did a video on, and I've used some, I believe it was peeled paint, oxide ink, and then just some black soot over the top. The black soot was sitting on my desk, and I thought actually it's a nighttime scene, so the grass needed to be kind of more intense because it's nighttime. So I've used the stencil that will give me the effect of the grass, if that makes sense, so it actually looks like grass, and now I'm using the one that will cover up what I've just inked, so that I don't get any of the sky ink on top of my grass, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to use three colors that I thought worked really well together. First of all, I've got some spice marmalade, I believe it was. It's been a while, guys. And so the next one is going to be one of the seedless preserves. I wondered if normally I show these to you guys just so that's easy. I find it nice for you guys, well, I think it's nice for you guys to see those colors as we go, kind of thing. And I've done that all the way to the top, and I'm going to go back and forth between these colors. I'm actually using the moon where it's stuck to my desk as a way to hold it down, but I could have used some temporary adhesive to hold the paper down instead. And I'm going back and forth, and I love the way these colors actually blended together. They just worked so beautifully. Yeah. If you're ever in doubt about what colors to use that will work well next to each other, if you Google, which is what I did, if you just Google color wheel and find one that has enough information on it that makes you comfortable with it, if that makes sense, because some of them are very detailed. Just a lot of them will be free downloads or things you can print off, and so that's all I did. So sometimes I'll look at that and see whether the colors will work next to each other. So around the very edge, because I do get a little overexcited with the black soot, and normally I overpower the entire background, I've just put it on the top corners, or like the top edge, and then reblended the seedless preserves into that as well. And that's a much better look than what I sometimes land up with, which is way too much black soot on there. I then spritz with some water, of course, and I'm using my it's not a distress heat tool, it's a Ranger heat tool, and it looks like a hairdryer, but it's super intense heat, so don't be fooled by its size. And look at how cool the moon looks. So I think my camera must have cut out there at that point. I can't remember if I actually put any like shadowing or anything on the moon, or whether I've left it completely stark white, so we'll see that in a second. It was a little while ago that I made this. Now this is the witch's boot from Happy Hauntings. It's very easy to put together. Just literally the three pieces, and that's it. And I also thought this kind of worked really well as a kind of like old Mother Hubbard sort of thing. It's totally not going to look like that, but that's where some inspiration came from. And I thought we can have this witch's shoe, which is this human-sized shoe, and then we're going to have these little fairies, witch fairies, which I will show you how I put those together. So the little lanterns are the ones that came from the mushroom lawn fawn mushroom house. Is it called the mushroom house? Mushroom house. I always get that wrong. And there's these two pieces. So one obviously to make the actual lantern, so the black pieces, and then the yellow is to just so that it looks like it's glowing, like it's on. You don't switch it on, like it's got a candle in there or something. That's the idea anyway. So I did 3 of those, and then I have got my 3 witches here, my 3 fairies I should say, from the Flower Fairy Friends, not Flower Fairies, that's a different thing, from the Fairy Friends, not the winter ones, so not the frosty Fairy Friends. I didn't want them with scarves on, so I used the ones without, so just sort of like the everyday fairies, if you like. And then the little hats are actually from the Halloween lawn fawn stamp set, which is great because it's basically got these fabulous sausage dogs in them, which is just makes me so happy. And I know it'll make my mum happy because she's got 2 of them, and they've got all these little outfits that you can put on. So one of them is a witch outfit, so there's a witch hat. So I used the hats and I just stuck them to my little witches. Obviously I did all the colouring and cutting out before now. I also have the little bats here from the tiny Halloween. I just thought they were the perfect sort of size for this scene, because it's not an enormous scene, but it's also, you want them kind of in the background, and I kind of got a little bit stamp happy here, and I just stamped them everywhere. So it's just a huge sky full of them, masses of bats. And then the green frame is the Bayou backdrop, which I did cut out of some dark green cardstock. I want to say it was Mossy Meadow maybe from Stampin' Up, but it doesn't matter. Don't get too hung up on the actual colour names, just look at the colour itself. So this is where I'm just going to line up this witch boot, and just kind of get it so that I want enough of it showing out, but I also want it to be slightly hidden behind the frame of the Bayou backdrop so that it looks like it's in the scene, if that makes sense. And it just worked pretty well, so I was quite happy with that. And then I'm just going to go through now, and this is the little it's a pumpkin spice, I think that's the name of the stamp set, and it's just a really little, it's one of the small stamp sets, and I just coloured him in. I thought it'd be quite cute to have, they've got their, this witch's shoe, and they're just congregated around it having a cup of pumpkin spice latte like you do in autumn or over Halloween. And then I will be popping these little ones all around the scene, but I'm first going to put the Bayou backdrop on so that it sort of helps to frame things, and then I know exactly where I can put the rest of them. Yeah, so just sticking it flat on there. In fact, nothing I think in this what I call postcards is actually 3D or anything. The lanterns I wanted to hang from the Bayou, like, what are those things, like vines, I guess. So I thought that was clever on my part to think, oh, let's hang the lanterns from them, then they'll have light so they can see what they're drinking. Anyway, so that's why I just decided on 3 of them. It was more than plenty for the space, to be fair. And I just, although the Bayou, like the viney bits are not stuck flat, I just stuck the lanterns flat to one of them, and that holds it in place. But I'm not worried about it sort of coming up or flaying around or anything. And then also in the pumpkin spice, there's actually the little like jar or bottle or whatever you want to call it, the shaker for like the sprinkles. So I have the sprinkles, and then I also added the sprinkles to the top of the what is that, I suppose cream or something on top of the pumpkin spice latte. So so the little one in the front is sorting out the latte for everybody. They could probably all drink from the same cup because it's so big and they're so small. And then the rest of them are just sort of hanging out together in, you know, flying around and things. So it's a cute scene. I was really chuffed in the end that this worked out the way it did. I'm just adding extra little bits now. I always say to you, these little things will make a big difference, although there was nothing wrong with it when I'd finished with it, but these little added touches. So this is like a Sakura, well, not like, it is a Sakura black glaze pen, and this I use for a lot of things. You'll see in a minute, I'll use it for all the eyes, like if they've got round eyes, because it's easy to dot the eyes because it flows really nicely. These pens always have, I mean, I've had them for years and they've been around for donkey's years. So just dotting all the little eyes, and also the, like where the laces would be. The other thing you could do with the laces on the witch's boot is actually put some thread through so it looks like laces, and do like cross lacing, if that makes sense. And then I've got a Nouveau's, like a shimmer pen thing, and I'm just putting that on the wings of the fairies, because of course all fairies have sparkly wings, or shimmery wings. And then I suddenly remembered that I had no sentiment on this. So I wasn't going to bother with a sentiment, because I thought this makes quite a nice little scene thing that you could just pop up at Halloween if you wanted to, around your house as decor, bit like I have done with some of the other bigger like card fronts, if you like. But I thought it needed something, so you are spooktacular, and so and yes, you are. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have any questions on any of my videos, just pop them in the comments. Obviously I don't want any weird psycho comments, they just get automatically taken out. But if you have any questions about products I use, or if I missed something, or or there's something in particular you want me to try and make to show you how to use, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and thank you for all the subscribing and likes and thumbs up. I know it's the same thing, but I keep saying the same thing. And all your comments, I read all of them. I'm terrible for getting back to everybody, but I'm trying to stay on top of that, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.